Have you ever wondered why the top 1% of students seem to study less yet remember absolutely everything? They aren't born geniuses. They simply refuse to treat their brain like a temporary storage unit. This is the paradox of high performance. To learn more, you often need to grind significantly less. In this video, we unlock a Japanese-inspired approach to sustainable mastery, not just exam survival. You will discover how to stop the exhausting cycle of cramming and forgetting. We promise to show you a system where knowledge doesn't just stick, it grows with you. It is the shift from memorizing for a test to truly understanding for life. By the end, you'll have the exact blueprint to turn studying from a chore into a natural state of being. We all know the feeling. It's 3 a.m., your eyes are burning, and the words on the page are starting to blur together. You are pouring caffeine into your system, trying to force your brain to stay awake against its will. You read the same paragraph 4 times, but absolutely nothing is registering. It's zombie learning. This is the leaky bucket syndrome. You pour information in furiously, but it leaks out just as fast. Then comes the panic. The exam is tomorrow, and you feel like you know less than when you started. You walk into the test room, and your mind goes completely blank. The anxiety blockades your memory. Even if you pass, 2 days later, that knowledge is gone, deleted to make room for the next crisis. This isn't learning. This is a cycle of trauma, and honestly, you deserve better. Here is the truth bomb. Cramming is not a sign of dedication. It is a symptom of fear. When you cram, you signal to your brain that this information is an emergency, not a lifestyle, and the brain is efficient. Once the emergency is over, it dumps the cargo. True mastery is like watering a garden. You can't flood it all at once, expect a forest overnight. We need to switch your operating system from studying to pass to studying to live. This brings us to the Japanese concept of balanced cultivation. Small inputs, massive long-term yield. Let me tell you about Kenji, a student who learned this the hard way. Kenji was the hardest worker in his class. He studied 14 hours a day, fueled by anxiety and energy drinks. Yet, his grades were average. He was spinning his wheels, lots of smoke, no movement. One day, he collapsed, not just physically, but mentally. He told his grandfather, "My brain is full." His grandfather smiled and said, "You are sharpening the blade so much, you have ground it down to nothing." Kenji was forced to change. He cut his study time in half, but he added something new, active emptying. Between study blocks, he didn't check his phone. He walked outside, looking at trees, thinking of nothing. He slept 8 hours. He treated sleep not as a pause, but as a work session for his neurons. When he returned to his desk, he wasn't tired. He was hungry for information. The result, he didn't just pass. He remembered the material 6 months later. He discovered that the space between the notes mixed the music. Tenji unknowingly applied an ancient samurai principle called Bunbu Ryodo. It translates to the pen and the sword in accord. The scholar and the warrior must exist in balance. For the modern student, the sword is your intense, focused study session. But the pen is the reflection, the rest, the diffusion. You cannot have one without the other. Neuroscience calls this the default mode network. When you stop trying to learn, your brain starts connecting what you learned to what you already know. But here is the trap. Scrolling social media is not rest. It is just more input. True rest requires low dopamine. Walking, staring at a wall, napping, washing dishes. The framework is simple. Input plus processing time equals sign retention. Remove the processing, and you lose the retention. So how do we build this living knowledge system? We start with step 1, environmental immersion. Don't just read. Listen. Play lectures in the background while you clean or commute. Let it wash over you. This primes your subconscious. You are marinating your brain in the topic before you even sit down to study. Step 2 is the most powerful weapon in your arsenal, the Feynman technique. If you can't explain it simply to a 5-year-old, you don't understand it. You just memorize the definition. Teaching forces you to find the gaps in your own logic. It turns passive data into active mastery. Step 3, Pareto efficiency. 80% of the exam comes from 20% of the material. Find that 20%. Ignore the fluff. Focus purely on core principles. The rest is just noise. Step 4, spaced repetition. Use technology like Anki or simple flashcards, but trust the algorithm. Review just as you are about to forget. That struggle to recall is what builds the muscle. Finally, step 5, romanticize the process. Make your study space a sanctuary, not a dungeon. When you enjoy the environment, the friction disappears. You start to look forward to the work. When you combine these steps, something magical happens. The wall between you and the knowledge dissolves. You enter the flow state. Time vanishes. The answers don't come from a book. They come from you. You stop being a student who is struggling to remember facts. You become a scholar who thinks in first principles. You become the master of your own mind. This confidence radiates. It's not the arrogance of cramming. It's the quiet power of competence. Exams become just a formality, a chance to show off what you already own. This is the ultimate freedom, to know that whatever challenge comes, your mind is ready. You have moved from force to flow, from exhaustion to excellence. You might think, but I don't have time to rest. Sans disagree. Neuroplasticity, the rewiring of your brain, primarily happens during non-sleep deep rest and actual sleep. Look at elite athletes. They don't train 24 hours a day. That would destroy your muscles. Your brain is a muscle. Constant stress creates cortisol, which literally kills brain cells in the hippocampus. But when you balance the pen and sword, you lower cortisol and boost dopamine. This is why the Japanese approach works. It aligns with your biology, not against it. So stop measuring your success by how tired you are. Exhaustion is not a badge of honor. Measure success by your clarity, by your peace, by your ability to recall without panic. Adopt the routine. Immerse, focus, rest, repeat. Be the master of the pen and the sword. Your future self is waiting for you to start. Start today, not with a marathon, but with a single, focused step. If you are ready to transform your mind, like this video and share it with a study partner. Subscribe for more insights on high-performance living. See you in the next